I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakak Wadash, for allowing me to do another lesson. Yahweh is who the world inwardly calls God, and Yahweh Shai is his son, who the world inwardly calls Jesus Christ, and there's no God beside them. I want to give double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and shalom to the elect. And real quick, this lesson is going to go into the Gentiles, or the Israelite foreigners, all right, which are one and the same. Especially the ones, well, the Gentiles who the Apostle Paul went to speak with. Might I add. So this is Romans chapter 9, verse 26. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, Ye are not my people, there shall they be called the children of the living power. That's America. All right. All the other kingdoms that ruled upon the planet Earth, it were known to be the children of Israel, except America. America, you're known to be African or Dominican or Mexican or Native American Indian, so on and so forth. You're known by proverbs and bywords. Okay, so this is America. They shall be called the children of the living God. Esaias also crieth, which Esaias is the Greek way of saying Isaiah, is right. If we go into it, it's like it. All right, which is Yeshaya or Isaiah. All right, so it says Isaiah also crieth concerning Israel, though the number of the children of Israel be as the sand of the sea, a remnant shall be saved, for he will finish the work. Right? So let's lock it. Let me bring that back. Don't want to skip over any point. Isaiah cried concerning Israel, though the number of the children of Israel be as the sand of the sea, a remnant shall be saved. So keep in mind, the Apostle Paul is referencing Isaiah and the prophecies that he spoke of. For he will finish the work and cut it short in righteousness, because a short work will the Lord make upon the earth. And as Isaiah said before, except the Lord of Sabaoth, the Lord of armies, had left us a seed, we had been as Sodom and had been like unto Gomorrah. Right? And that's in reference to Isaiah 1 verse 9. Except the Lord of hosts had left us a very small remnant, we should have been as Sodom, and we should have been like unto Gomorrah. Okay, so it says, what say we then? That the Gentiles which follow not after righteousness have attained to righteousness, even the righteousness which is of faith. But Israel which follow after the law of righteousness have not attained to the law of righteousness. Okay, so this is where you may get confused. All right, so again, this is Isaiah, right? So basically what Apostle Paul is doing, he's referencing the Old Testament, and then he's giving understanding on the things that Isaiah was speaking about, right? So let's talk about the Gentiles that Isaiah, or the remnant that Isaiah spoke about that was going to be saved, right? This is the book of Isaiah, chapter, I'll pull it up here so you brothers can read with me. Isaiah chapter 11, verse 10. And in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, all right, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. So who's that root of Jesse? All right, that's got to be talking about King David, which the root of Jesse or King David, all right, or Israelites. Let's see. See, that's a heavy one too. That Romans 15 and 12. Again, referencing, hey, that's a spirit that the Lord had me look this up, because again, this shows you that the Apostle Paul, when he's speaking to the Romans, he was referencing Isaiah, right? Now this Romans 15 and 12 and Isaiah 11 and 10 says the same thing. All right, so I'm gonna again go back to Isaiah 11 and 10 since it says the same thing. All right, and it says, and in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, King David. All right, the righteous of King David, all the Israelites. That's the point I'm trying to make. Which shall stand for an ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. And it shall come to pass in that day that Yahweh shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people. All right, the remnant shall be saved under the banner of Yahweh Shai, of course, as well as King David. And the remnant or the Gentiles, let's see what he's talking about. Of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, and from Egypt, and from Pathros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. All right, the word Gentile meaning nation. All right, or nations. All right, because there's going to be a remnant that was scattered among those nations. Okay, like the disciples, they commune within themselves. Was that John 7? And Yahweh Shah said, I have a place, that I shall go that you should not be able to find me. And they said, whither shall we go? Shall we go to the dispersed among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles? Going into Israel, because Israel were dispersed among the Gentiles. Now, if they were actually just talking about Gentiles, why would they make a statement about the dispersed among the Gentiles? Okay? Because you have the dispersed of Israel among the Gentiles. To recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, from Egypt, and from Pathros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and so dissemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. All right. So that's just something quick in the spirit. All right. The envy also of Ephraim shall depart. All right. And the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim, because all the tribes, all 12 tribes, as it says in Revelation 7, shall be saved. All right. Salakia. Yeah, all the 12 tribes shall be saved. Now, not everyone from the 12 tribes, all right, because you have 12,000 of each tribe. Now, you could have a brother whose lineage really goes back to Simeon, but he grew up among the Elamites, which are the so-called East Indians, okay? Or you could have a brother, I don't know, whose tribe, lineage can be traced back to Gad, but his he grew up among, I don't know, let's say the Chinese. All right, well, hey, Bruce Lee, that's a spirit, Bruce Lee, but that's why we don't really know about going from slavery and these devils destroying our the paperwork, so to speak. We just have to go with faith. But just something quick in the spirit, just to prove that the Gentiles that the Apostle Paul was speaking about were the Israelite foreigners that were scattered among the Gentiles. So with that, shalom to the elect.